The man who hijacked an Alaska Airlines plane in Seattle on Friday night, taking it for a joyride before crashing on an island in a ball of flames, has been identified as Richard Russell, a married 29-year-old Horizon Air employee. Russell had worked for Horizon Air at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport for nearly 4 years, according to his LinkedIn account, as a ground service agent and an operations agent. Authorities have yet to confirm the hijacker's identity, although Russell's Facebook friends and a former coworker.
Hi, I'm Bebo Russell, and I'm a ground service agent. That means I lift a lot of bags. Like, a lot of bags. So many bags. Look at all them bags. Ooh, a purple one. I usually have to work outside in this. But it allows me to do some pretty cool things too.
Announced the news early Saturday morning. Russell, who has been described by investigators as suicidal, hijacked an empty 76-seat turboprop Q400 around 8 p.m. on Friday after taking the aircraft from the maintenance area. It remains unclear how the employee with no pilot's license, no apparent flying experience, was able to gain access to the jet and fly it out of the airport undetected. During the hijacking, Russell joked with air traffic controllers about how he would be jailed for life for stealing the plane, before telling them he was a broken man, with a few screws loose. Police blamed doing stunts in the air and a lack of flying skills for the crash that brought Russell's hour-long joyride to an end 25 miles away from SeaTac. Witnesses described seeing the plane performing barrel rolls and loop-the-loops as the military planes directed it away from highly populated areas and towards Ketron Island, where it crashed into a ball of flame. "We don't know how he learned to do that," Horizon Air CEO Gary Beck told reporters when asked how Russell was able to perform loop-the-loops and barrels while flying the aircraft. "Commercial aircraft are complex machines. No idea how he achieved that experience," Horizon Air COO Constance von Muehlen said in a video statement that "Our hearts are with the family of the individual on board as well as all our Alaska Air and Horizon Air employees." Officials said during a press conference on Saturday that Russell used a push-back tractor to rotate the plane 180 degrees before takeoff. Russell was born in Key West, Florida and moved to Alaska when he was 7 years old, according to a 2017 blog post. He met his wife, Hannah, in 2010 while they were both in school and married 1 year later. It doesn't appear that they had any children. According to Russell's blog, he and Hannah opened a bakery called Hannah Marie's Bakery in North Bend, Oregon and ran it for 3 years. In 2015, the couple relocated to Seattle because we were both so far removed from our families, Russell wrote. Failing to convince Hannah of Alaska's greatness, we settled on Sumner because of its close proximity to her family, he posted. While living in Seattle, Russell started working for Horizon Air, writing that he enjoyed being able to travel to Alaska in his spare time. Russell, who was pursuing his bachelor's degree for social sciences from Washington State University, said he wanted to move up in his company to one day work in a management position. The Horizon Air worker, however, also had other dreams, writing on his blog that he was considering becoming a military officer. Russell's blog is filled with pictures of him and his wife traveling across the globe. The 29-year-old also shared pictures from his wedding day and several videos showcasing what he does at work. In one video, apparently for a class project, Russell introduces himself as Bebo Russell and says he lifts a lot of bags at his job. "Like a lot of bags," he says. "So many bags." He went on to say that because of his job he's been able to visit places like France, Idaho, Mexico, Ireland and Alaska. Russell ended the nearly 2-minute-long video by sharing photos of his family members, none of whom have publicly commented on the incident. Rick Christensen, a retired operational supervisor for Horizon Air, told the DailyMail.com that Russell was quiet and a nice kid. Christensen didn't supervise Russell's team, but said he saw the 29-year-old in passing while at work. "He always had a nice smile," he said. "He seemed quiet, and he always had a smile. The people that knew him said he was a nice guy." Christensen said he was sitting on his deck Friday night at his Tacoma home with his wife, his cousin and his cousin's wife when he saw the Horizon Q400 fly over his house. All of a sudden one of the Horizon Q400s came over the house at 500 feet, followed by 2 F-15s. One was high, one was low, Christensen said, adding that he knew something was wrong because the plane was flying way too low. The former supervisor said he grabbed a pair of binoculars to watch the aircraft, admitting that he was scared and concerned because he didn't know what was going on. He was doing a lot of weird flying, weird turns, he said, but he was coming back towards us, towards our way. Christensen said while the plane was over the water it did a 360-degree roll and went into a steep dive. He brought the one wing up and the whole airplane rolled, and as it rolled it went into a dive. It looked control, he said, adding that the plane pulled up with less than 50 feet between the nose of the aircraft and the water. Christensen said 2 minutes later there was big plume of black smoke, indicating the plane had crashed. During a press conference on Saturday, officials said they did not believe Russell had a pilot license. Christensen said because of the complicated rolls and dives he was doing, Russell may have had some type of experience. I can tell you what the maneuver he did, that's not an aerobatic airplane. It's made to fly people from point A to point B and not do aerobatics. He did some aerobatics in the airplane that I was shocked to see, Christensen said, and for him to do that I would think that he either played in a simulator or what. It looked pretty amazing to me. Maybe it was luck, I don't know. The retired Horizon Air worker also said he doesn't understand how Russell was able to back the aircraft onto the taxiway by himself, although he said it is possible. It's not the procedure, he said, explaining that usually a two-person crew moves aircraft. Christensen said under normal circumstances one worker is in the cockpit communicating with the tower, and a second person is on the tractor used to push the plane. Authorities have said that Russell was in the aircraft alone, but don't know how he moved the plane and took off undetected. Russell's main role as a ground service agent was to load and unload bags, direct aircraft for takeoff, and de-ice planes in the winter. According to a job posting, ground service agents are paid roughly $13.75 an hour, and as a full-time employee they receive benefits, travel privileges for themselves and family members, and are eligible for a bonus program. Nowhere in the job description does it mention that ground service agents are permitted to fly planes. During a press conference on Saturday morning, NTSB investigator Deborah Eckroat said they are trying to determine what his process was and where the aircraft was going. He's ground support, so, you know, they have access to aircraft, she said, adding that we're very lucky. The plane went down on a very underpopulated island. She said the plane came to rest in a thick underbrush on Ketron Island, and first responders had to blaze a trail to get to the wreckage. Eckroat said the plane is highly fragmented, and the wings were torn off in the crash. She said responders could not identify a lot Friday night because there was a fire, but they were taking Saturday to focus on the areas that we're looking for. Eckroat called the incident very usual and said the FBI were doing a background check on Russell to determine a motive. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said on Saturday morning that President Trump was briefed on the incident and was monitoring the situation. She also praised the response effort for its swift action and ensuring public safety. Two F-15 fighter jets scrambled from Portland minutes after the plane took off to intercept it, according to Pierce County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Paul Pastor confirmed the incident was not terrorist-related and described it as a joyride gone terribly wrong. He said the man did something foolish and may well have paid with his life. At one point, Russell asked air traffic controllers, "Hey, do you think if I land this successfully Alaska will give me a job as a pilot?" The air traffic controller, trying to keep him on side, replied, "You know, I think they would give you a job doing anything if you could pull this off," to which Rich replied, "Yeah, right. Nah, I'm a white guy." He was also heard telling traffic controllers he was just a broken guy, before telling them he was preparing to go jail. "This is probably jail time for life, huh? I would hope it is for a guy like me," he said. Once again, traffic control tried to get Russell to land. "There is the runway just off your right side in about a mile. Do you see that?" the traffic controller said. "Oh, those guys will try to rough me up if I try land there," Russell replied. "I think I might mess something up there too. I wouldn't want to do that." "Oh, they probably have got anti-aircraft. They don't have any of that stuff. We are just trying to find you a place to land safely," the traffic controller responded. Russell told the air traffic controller he wasn't quite ready to bring the plane down. "But holy smokes, I need to stop looking at the fuel 'cause it's going down quick," he added. "Okay, Rich, if you could you start a left-hand turn and we'll take you down to the southeast," the traffic controller said. Ketron Island, where the plane went down, is a densely wooded area home to 24 people, according to the 2000 census. None of the island's residents were thought to have been harmed. Royal King told the Seattle Times he was photographing a wedding when he saw the low-flying turboprop being chased by two F-15s. He said he didn't see the crash but saw smoke. It was unfathomable. It was something out of a movie, he told the newspaper. The smoke lingered. You could still hear the F-15s, which were flying low. The airport was shut down for about an hour and a half and flights were suspended as officials dealt with the hijacked plane. Planes already on the runway were ordered to stay put, Seattle-Tacoma SeaTac Airport said in a statement. An airline employee conducted an unauthorized takeoff without passengers at SeaTac. Aircraft has crashed in South Puget Sound. Normal operations at SeaTac Airport have resumed, Alaska Airlines said. We are aware of an incident involving an unauthorized takeoff of a Horizon Air Q400. We believe there are no passengers on board. More information as we learn more. This is not a terrorist incident. Confirmed info. This is a single suicide male. We know who he is. No others involved, the Pierce County Sheriff said. The Federal Aviation Administration said, we can't confirm anything at this time. We're trying to get accurate information about what is actually going on. Without confirming anything, a stolen aircraft would be a security issue. The FAA is not a security agency, although we work closely with other government agencies on security issues. The incident is now being investigated by the FBI and military. It is thought to be the first fatal incident in the U.S. involving a commercial airliner since 9/11. Horizon Air is part of Alaska Air Group and flies shorter routes throughout the U.S. West. SeaTac is the 9th busiest airport in the U.S., and flew 46.9 million passengers and more than 425,800 metric tons of air cargo in 2017. How was Seattle airline employee able to hijack jet? Investigators have been working to determine how Horizon Air employee Richard Russell was able to steal an empty turboprop plane from SeaTac Airport and take it for an hour-long joyride that ended in a fiery crash on an island in the Puget Sound. The 29-year-old reportedly stole the Horizon Air Q400 jet from the maintenance area and took to the skies around 8 p.m. Friday. Despite not having any apparent flying experience, it remains unclear how he was able to gain access to the aircraft and fly it out of the airport undetected. We don't know how he learned to do that, Horizon CEO Gary Beck told reporters when asked how Russell was able to perform loop-the-loop and barrels while flying the aircraft. Commercial aircraft are complex machines. No idea how he achieved that experience. Russell has worked for Horizon Air at Seattle-Tacoma Airport for nearly 4 years, according to his LinkedIn account, as a ground service agent and an operations agent. The bizarre incident involving a worker authorities said was suicidal points to one of the biggest potential perils for commercial air travel, airline or airport employees, causing mayhem. The greatest threat we have to aviation is the insider threat, Errol Southers, a former FBI agent and transportation security expert, told AP. Here we have an employee who was vetted to the level to have access to the aircraft and had a skill set proficient enough to take off with that plane. The Friday night crash happened because the 29-year-old man was doing stunts in air or lack of flying skills, the Pierce County Sheriff's Department said. The man, who was believed killed, wasn't immediately identified. Video showed the Horizon Air Q400 doing large loops and other dangerous maneuvers as the sun set on Puget Sound. There were no passengers aboard. The plane was pursued by military aircraft before it crashed on tiny Ketron Island, southwest of Tacoma, Washington. Video showed fiery flames amid trees on the island, which is sparsely populated and only accessible by ferry. No structures on the ground were damaged, Alaska Airlines said. Authorities initially said Russell was a mechanic, but Alaska Airlines later said he was believed to be a ground service agent employed by Horizon. Those employees direct aircraft for takeoff and gate approach and de-ice planes. Sheriff's Department officials said they were working with the FBI in investigating the man's background and trying to determine his motive. Investigators expect they will be able to recover both the cockpit voice recorder and the event data recorder from the plane. Alaska Air Group CEO Brad Tilden said in a statement early Saturday morning that the airline was working to find out everything we possibly can about what happened. The airline was coordinating with the Federal Aviation Administration, the FBI and the National Transportation Safety Board, he said.